Twinkies will play on some grassy dirt, but turn down the volume on Dick and Bird. Fuck Dick and Bird! Fuck Dick and Bird! St. Paul admitting the law and life, and hitting rock bottom, drugs in the ex-wife. Fuck Dick and Bird! Fuck Dick and Bird! Fuck Dick and Bird! Fuck Dick and Bird! Fuck shit.
Hello and welcome to this thing we call Minnesota Foul Play-by-Play. I'm your host, Anthony Variano. I'm joined, as usual, by the brothers Haas, Bradley and Michael. How you guys doing?
Yo.
We had
trying to get my voice back after the Cats losing in Brookings on Saturday.
I wanted to ask you about that.
Actually,
you guys,
let's start with that real quick.
Yeah.
They got fucked.
Well, Mike,
Hardcore.
you were at both games, right? You went to South Dakota for Montana State, South Dakota State, and also to the Vikings. Well, I don't know if I'd call it a game, but they tried to play football against Tampa Bay and lost. So how was that weekend?
Awesome. I'll take a Cat Saturday over a Viking Sunday any day of the week.
Absolutely.
And Mike, I think, Mike, you being at the game, you didn't get to see everything that we got to see on TV and whatnot.
Right.
Cats outplayed them. I mean, the Cats were the better team on the field, offensively and defensively, in my opinion, watching it on TV. And then for the game to come down, which I don't even think the game should have came down to that last play. How do you overturn the call? I mean, I just
– He was
you guys
yard beyond the line of scrimmage when he threw the ball.
No, they called him out of bounds.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
I thought he was beyond the line of scrimmage by a yard.
No. They said he didn't get his foot down.
Well, they also had they didn't deserve to win. They had 2 false start penalties on the goal line, basically.
It doesn't matter about deserving to win. Brookings didn't deserve to win. They got outplayed for 3/4 of football. Yeah, we shot ourselves in the foot the whole fucking game. I mean, 12 penalties.
80 yards of penalties. Yeah.
You can't do that against a good team.
No.
My only thing is, I mean, you go into that game just wanting to compete.
Right.
And coming out of that game, not getting the win, we can play with the big dogs.
Oh, yeah.
Our offensive line and defensive line held up way better than last year.
Even after losing starting quarterback Tommy Mellott at the beginning of the third quarter.
No, we absolutely kicked their ass, but then beat ourselves at the same point. So yeah, let's talk about the next generational superstar that's coming up, huh, Tony?
Okay. Coco Gauff, 19 years old, won her first Grand Slam singles title. After dropping the first set, she came back to beat new number 1, Aryna Sabalenka, to win the U.S. Open Women's Singles Championship. She thanked her haters in the post-match interview, which apparently everyone loved. Brad, you wanted to talk about this.
Quote unquote, honestly, those who thought they were putting water on my fire, you're really adding gas to it. And now I'm really burning so bright right now. Boom! What? Fuck all you guys. Like that, she was awesome after that.
I mean, the more impressive thing is that you break it out on the court immediately after the match, which is, hard to do. That's a really hard situation. It's not often that, I guess it does happen in basketball and football. Right after the game, they'll grab somebody. But yeah, if you win the match, you're obligated to speak to the press immediately after your match on the court, which is not a lot of time between, what was a grueling match and, trying to, muster the words in order to say what you're feeling. And she handled it not a lot better than most 19-year-olds you would expect, I'd imagine.
And after dropping the first set, I mean,
yeah,
I didn't come back. I thought it was 2 sets and done, and holy shit.
Well, that's the most impressive thing to me as somebody who watches a lot of tennis, is her mental fitness is off the charts. Like, I mean, at 19 years old, she shouldn't be doing what she's doing. Like, she should stumble a lot more than she has. I got some stats here. In 17 majors, she's had just 3 first-round exits and 2 second-round exits. And over the last 2 years, she's made 2 finals and 2 quarterfinals. So the future is bright for Coco Gauff, and that's to say the least. I think she could probably challenge Margaret Court's record of 24 slam championships in the WTA. Also, I mean, her game is just, there's no holes in it whatsoever. Like, she's played enough doubles to become one of, if not the best doubles player in the world. And this is what's always been frustrated me about Daniil Medvedev, who could learn plenty by playing some doubles, because he's just a terrible volleyer of the ball. He beat the number 1 player in the world, Carlos Alcaraz, only to lose to Novak Djokovic in the final, which he's done often. And Coco's already got as many major titles as Medvedev, who's 27 years old.
No, but didn't we talk about that 2-3 years ago when you're in town? You know, we're watching French Open, Australia Open, you know, whichever one we're watching, and we're critiquing those holes in our game. Not that we're fucking professional tennis players by any means. And I think
you can see things that you can improve upon. That's all.
And I 100% agree with you. I think the doubles helped her game.
Oh, absolutely.
Immensely.
Yeah. I wonder if she continues to play as much doubles as she does with Jessica Pegula going forward. But I mean, she's so young, you know. She did show a little bit of fatigue, shoulder fatigue in their last match, which they lost. They did, but I mean, after she was showing that shoulder fatigue, they came back and won 4 straight games and almost won the whole match.
It was harder than the pubs of hell there, though, that weekend. Holy shit. Yeah. Like the tennis they were playing on, oh, man.
It was damn near intolerable. I mean, Australian Open has been, you know, comparable in the past when they had those fires going on a few years ago. But, yeah, and apparently it smelled like weed. It smelled like weed everywhere.
Nothing like the fires burning with Coco right now, man. Let's go.
Nothing like the fires burning legal weed in Minnesota, baby. So what does this mean for her future? Like I said, she could challenge Margaret Court's record for major titles, and she could burn out, and she's got time to do so. Like, she can take a year off like Naomi Osaka did. It's probably going to happen. I mean, way back 40 years ago, Bjorn Borg gave up the game at 26 to live a life away from tennis. Andre Agassi revealed in his book Open that he hated the game for much of his professional career. I have the same love-hate relationship with the game. I think everyone who plays the game does. It is probably baseball has the hardest thing to do in hitting the ball, but tennis is a much more grueling sport, both mentally and physically.
It's just you. I mean,
got no one to blame out there but yourself. Yeah. And
I agree with that. I mean, I witnessed it firsthand with my 15-year-old daughter this year. She started playing softball in March all the way through June. And this is nothing like what they've been doing, you know, and towards the end, she's just like, Dad, I need a break for a little bit. I'm getting burnt, you know, doing tournaments every week and whatnot. Yeah. I couldn't imagine the level of being a professional sports athlete, like a tennis player, doing all this stuff by yourself, day in, day out. Like,
she moved to Florida to pursue tennis as a career in the 2nd grade, Brad. Yeah. She's basically been like, this has been a job for her since she was like 8 years old.
So that's what I'm saying, though, with this mental shit, like, since the 2nd grade. So, you know, since 6-7 years old, now 12 years later, she accomplished it. She won a Grand Slam. Like, do you just have a mental breakdown now? Like, you accomplished your goal, or?
Well, I mean, that's the thing, is she's got the mentality that she wants to win every tournament she's in and every match that she plays, whether it's, you know, a doubles match at the Cincinnati Open, or, you know, it doesn't matter. She's got that mentality that's going to take her a long ways. And it's just incredible that her mental fitness is on the level, is maybe even better than Novak Djokovic already, who loses his shit on occasion on the court, but manages to bounce back. Coco doesn't even lose her shit. Like she does. I'd have never seen her really get pissed off about much of anything. There was a talk of she was playing the Russian who was taking her sweet time between points, and she was very kind to the umpire and said, this isn't, fair. When I'm serving, she needs to be ready to receive the serve, which is absolutely true.
Do you think that's being young and naive? And do you think she will turn into like the Serena Williams when this shit keeps happening, where she'll turn into?
No, I think she's had a lot of What's that?
You know who I am? Like, they can't be doing this shit. Like, and because I think she handled it very well.
Yeah.
I think young tennis phenoms, I mean, they age so quick, though. I mean, if you're 18, 19 in tennis, the prime of your game, you're like a 25, 26-year-old ball player coming into their own on a diamond,
Right, yeah.
And the mental toughness aspect of it, I mean, I love me a good tennis movie, but the only thing I could compare tennis doing on your own when it's just you, other than the physical fucking grueling sessions you put your body through and your joints and your knees, when you talk about mental toughness, it's the closest game to like playing chess in fucking sped up real time, though.
Okay.
Like, it's
I thought you were gonna
I
say
think it's one of the most impressive sports ever created.
Well, and I think Daniil Medvedev prides himself on being that sort of chess master where like he can beat you because he defends so well. You guys see he stands basically at the wall returning serve, and it almost doesn't matter who the hell he's playing against. That's always frustrated me. And he did end up taking a couple steps in on Djokovic's second serve in the final, but it was too little too late. And that's probably
Tony.
why he doesn't bother to try volleying, because he starts way the hell back. And
come on, Tony, that's exactly how I play you. About 6 feet off the line and just
yeah. You guys got anything else on this?
No, it's cool. Like, I'm glad that you got me. She's a cool person to watch. Like, I think she's inspiring. I really do, for young athletes.
Absolutely. And
I think real deal. Yeah.
To answer your question earlier about whether or not it's naivety, is just she's had great coaching and great mentorship, right? So like Naomi Osaka took her aside and they continue to talk, and it'll be really exciting to see both of those at the Australian Open next year. God.
But that speech though at the end, for coming from a 19-year-old man,
that was very surprising.
Goosebumps. It gave me absolute goosebumps watching them.
Well, I got goosebumps, baby. It feels like it's Christmas around here. I mean, first
women's hockey, baby.
We get a pro women's hockey team back. Not only that, but in free agency, we told you 2 of these players would end up in Minnesota, and 2 of them did. The fastest woman on skates, Kendall Coyne-Schofield, and reigning PWHPA Defender of the Year, Lee Steckline, will anchor the Minnesota PWHL team, which is yet to be named, but I hope it's the Whitecaps, because I've got a bunch of gear and I really would not like to have to buy a bunch more. Kelly Panic was the first free agent Minnesota signed, and the first in league history. And she's from just down the road from my house, from Plymouth. She's a Team USA veteran. Should be really great on the power play. And Minnesota will make more league history with the first overall pick on the draft on September 18th at noon. And Ian Kennedy of the Hockey News expects Minnesota to make former Gopher and Team USA star Taylor Heisey the first overall pick in the PWHL draft. You all have seen Taylor. She scored that goal right after I yelled shot in the video on our TikTok. After that was a game time goal in the third period against Wisconsin to get a draw in front of the largest crowd in Ritter Arena history. So, I mean, this team is absolutely loaded. It's super fast, both on offense and defense. It's going to be a problem on the power play. They're going to have to find a much bigger place than Richfield Arena to put this star-studded, locally grown team. They're considering Xcel Energy Center, actually. What's that, Brad?
I said they got one over in St. Paul.
Well, that's about the only one they've got available to them, because I don't think there's not pro ice yet at University of Minnesota, those rinks, they did retrofit it to make it more closer to professional ice dimensions, but I think the corners are a little wider. I don't know. So yeah, it sounds like they'll probably just use Xcel Energy Center if they can and go from there. But God, this is freaking exciting, guys. The season starts in January. I'm definitely getting season tickets. Like, unless I become their public address announcer, I'm going to be at every freaking game, especially now that I'm unemployed. Nothing else.
Well, no, I'm definitely going to come out for a couple of games, and we're going to be right on the fucking goddamn ice, man.
Oh, I'm curious about what the price point's going to be for this league, given that, you know, now we've got the best players and the bona fide best players in the world playing in this league. So I mean, it doesn't really matter what it is. I'm going to pay it because I want to support the league. I want it to succeed. I would like to see it expand. It's amazing. Like, we're the westernmost team in the league. So
yeah,
I mean, it's nuts. They did that on purpose because, you know, travel expenses are the biggest expense for, you know, a startup league like this. So everybody's pretty close together. They're all like hockey meccas, right? Boston, New York, Minnesota, like shit. There's not even in Canada do they fill an NHL arena for their they call it their provincial state championships or whatever, or their provincial championships. I don't even think they have them in their NHL arenas, but we sell out goddamn Xcel Energy Center for high school tournament game, not even the championship game.
Well, no, that's what I'm wondering is if this league does take off and there's going to be expansion teams, if maybe some of these hockey meccas could have like two teams, like we do it like in baseball and shit. Like maybe Minnesota can have two teams, and then you have
Minneapolis and a St. Paul rivalry. Oh my God!
Awesome would that
Jesus, I would have to get season tickets to both.
No, that would be
holy shit!
Awesome.
It would be wild. There's only going to be 12 home games, it sounds like, so it should be pretty reasonable. And if they're going to use Xcel Energy Center, there's going to be plenty of space, so I don't imagine that availability is going to be a problem. But yeah, it's so exciting. It makes me glad that I didn't renew my Lynx season membership.
Well, they weren't going
to. From what I've read up on the league, like on ESPN and other affiliates, I mean, it sounds like with their little players union and stuff, I mean, they're going to make it competitive to try to keep talent around, so they're not as underpaid as other female sports. So, I mean, to me, that's good. We don't have to have people working side gigs and whatnot, but I like it so far.
Brad, you had something?
I didn't think that the Target Center was going to allow you to renew your seat licensing there.
I never did get a warning from the league. So yeah, but they kind of did me bad. I tried to transfer tickets to get Anna and Dave into the courtside club when they were here, and then like my ticket rep didn't realize that the whole idea was to, you know, give them the courtside club experience. So he put me outside the courtside club, and I didn't realize it until I got there. So that kind of ticked me off a little bit. But you know, mostly I'm just pissed that we didn't tank, and we're going to be worse than Atlanta next year now because we won too many fucking games. And perfect segue. Lynx kick off the WNBA playoff schedule on ESPN, or the family of channels on ESPN. They begin Wednesday, September 13th, with the Lynx visiting Connecticut at 7 p.m. Central Time. The game will be on ESPN2. All games can be found on an ESPN channel or ABC. Do the Lynx have a chance in the series against Connecticut? Not really. The Sun won 3 of 4 against Minnesota this year, but they did lose 1 at home, and the Lynx will have to replicate that in order to force Game 3 in Minnesota, because they play the first 2 in Connecticut, and it's best of 3. So you got to get a road game when you're the lower seed, and I don't know if I see it happening. Beyond that, the Lynx and every other team besides Las Vegas and New York have almost no chance.
Exactly.
Yeah, so unless either team loses a star, and Vegas could probably still win the whole thing without a star, but ESPN just called the Liberty the new favorite in for the WNBA playoffs. So, I mean, to me, it's pushed. They're the only team that's beaten Las Vegas twice this year. They won the Commissioner's Cup championship, which didn't count towards the regular season record. And then they also have a regular season win over them by a ton of points too. Like, I don't know, Vegas tends, when they lose, they tend to just shoot the ball terribly. Like Asia Wilson goes away as an offensive player. She just, I don't know. Everyone just is bricking on the same day. So they'll have to fix that because, I mean, they're not a great defensive team. Like Asia's great, but I you know, they rely on their backcourt to score. You know, Jackie Wilson, Kelsey Plum, and Chelsea Gray. And if those three are all missing threes, then you're going to lose games by a lot of points. But it's going to be a great series. I really hope. It would be terrible if like Connecticut snuck in there to play in the championship against, you know, one of the either Las Vegas or New York. That would be the worst.
Even as being a Lynx fan, if they would sneak in somehow, it's like, this is not even cool.
I wouldn't want to see them. It would be embarrassing. So it's been embarrassing playing both of those teams all season. That was the day I decided I wasn't gonna. That was the game where my ticket rep put me, you know, in outside the courtside club with Anna and Dave, and we were down by 30 by, you know, the midway through the second quarter or something like that. It was just embarrassing. Yeah, and I mean, it's not going to get much better next season because we're not in the draft lottery. God, guys, did you guys see this text I sent you about Caitlin Clark? If she decides to come out, Phoenix has the best chance of getting the first overall pick. She could end up playing with the GOAT Diana Taurasi and Brittany Griner, and that team would be a contender. They'd go from worst to maybe third, fourth best in the league.
If we had more of a segue to talk about this, and we're going to actually talk about this, I don't think she's coming out.
I don't think so either.
You have college football players talking about staying in school because they're making more money
because of NIL. Yeah. Well,
Caleb Williams would be dumb to come out right now.
I mean, Caitlin Clark? Oh, Caleb Williams of UNC.
For USC, yeah.
USC, yes.
The Sanders kid. The amount of money they're making right now is crazy.
Yeah, like they have a higher potential of being injured, and if they get injured, that could affect their draft stock. So,
fair enough. I'm just saying it's crazy. It's kind of cool that we're in this day and age now where you can stay in school and make more money than in pro. Long time coming.
Yeah, I dig it too. Mike, you got anything on that?
No, you guys handled it well. Very proud of your guys' analysis.
Wow, Jesus, holy cow, Mike! This is about the least I think you've ever said. And we haven't talked about the Twins. What's the score? Mike?
3-2, bottom of the eighth. We got bases loaded, 2 outs. Carlos Correa up to plate.
Oh shoot!
Oh God, that Tuesday fucking crowd is getting wild. They're waving that damn flag around.
Are you guys coming out for playoff games?
I'm gonna try to, definitely.
Yeah. Maybe see their first win in a playoff game since 2004.
2 decades. Yeah, I was gonna say. No, I definitely will. I'll come and support the ball club. We'll have a show and we can fucking argue about fucking mistakes we feel they made on their playoff roster. But whatever. I mean, Gallo's gone for a while. I like this team right now.
Yeah. Gallo's on the IL though, so he can be put on the playoff roster.
Yes.
I think in our text messages, I nailed it perfect. Like, honestly, I think we're going to be disappointed. I think we're going to play a couple good games in the playoffs, but we're going to lose by 1 run, and it's going to be low scoring just because the offense isn't there.
It's so inconsistent, right? Like, it doesn't even matter if it's an elite pitcher on the mound or not. Like, they struggle with right-handed pitching the other day against the Mets, and it's just like, what the hell is going on?
How disheartening is that to watch your fucking ace get you 14 strikeouts and you lose the game? It's come on, man.
Yeah. That's a bummer, man.
But no, what this series with the Rays is showing is, I mean, this is the kind of competition we're going to be playing.
Right.
And it's going to be very difficult. I mean,
and I don't even, like, don't tell me that the pressure is not going to be on these people. Even none of them have ever played. You know what I mean? Like
Carlos is a postseason, one of the best postseason performers in the world.
But to think about, man, this team hasn't won in, a quarter of a century. Like, I'm trying to be optimistic.
Yeah, our roster's OPS against Tampa Bay is 452. That's not good. So hopefully we avoid them.
No, I've been trying to stay positive, but like you listen to the commentators, you like listen to Bremer, and it's just like, just stop talking about Buxton. Like, this season just has to be gone for him. Like what's he gonna do unless he comes back and just
play great defense in center field? He doesn't even have to hit to play great center field. He can contribute just playing center field well.
How do we know that, though? He hasn't played all fucking year.
We won't know that. We have no idea. We're going to find out together in game 1 of the playoffs, probably.
That's what I'm saying is, fuck it. If we really want to risk it, put the fucking gear back on Joe Mauer. He can be our backup catcher, man. Like, fuck
it. Concussions be damned.
I don't know. I'm hopeful. I think it's going to be one of those things where I don't think we're going to outright dominate a team. I think it would be some wacky fucking squeaking by some teams with some young guys coming up huge.
We actually hit Toronto's pitching pretty well, 779 OPS against them. But I don't really. I would have felt a lot better about playing Texas in that first round. It seems like Texas has gone away though. If we run into Seattle, we might be able to handle Seattle. We hit 867 OPS off them, and Baltimore is going to be a problem.
I would disagree with that. I think any team in the American League is beatable. I would
agree with you. I think it's pretty wide open.
Yeah,
but I just think of the teams in the American League, we're the worst.
By far.
Yeah. Like there's 3 other teams that probably should be in the playoffs besides us.
Maybe not talent-wise, but consistency-wise. I mean, Correa leading RBI with 68 RBIs in the season. We're not even going to come close to having one guy with 100 RBIs. Offensive are just shit.
I do.
I love potential of 3 Cy Young winners on our team if our guys would hit the fucking ball.
I do. I'm glad you brought up the RBI stat because I fucking hate the Braves. But I love looking at their lineup. They got like 1 through 6 who's got like fucking 4 RBIs.
Yeah.
And our best players on our team.
Well, you got to get on base, and this team doesn't get on base. It's solo home runs if they score at all.
You put the pressure of being at home in a playoff game. Like, who are they? Like that. Hopefully they come out.
It's not just a playoff game. It's a playoff series. They get all 3 games. You should have no problem. They're one of the best home teams in baseball. 10-minute warning.
I bet you they'd lose game 1.
Well, they haven't done well with Pablo Lopez's starts. They haven't converted a lot of them into W's.
No, they need to. The problem is they need to be really patient with the pitching we're going to have to face. And we've got to run up pitch counts, take some fucking walks to even make it a game. But it's playoff baseball. Anything can fucking happen. I mean, teams make runs. That's the beauty of baseball.
Yeah, the best team doesn't always win the World Series. I love it.
Hardly ever.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's talk about that just terrible goddamn excuse for a game that they played Sunday at US Bank Stadium. Brian Flores' defense was the only Vikings unit prepared to play. That's all I saw. That defense was massively improved upon last year's team already, with a bunch of people that we don't know for the most part, and somehow it worked. It worked really well. Tampa Bay isn't a really great measuring stick, I would say that. But I mean, I didn't see too many big mistakes by anybody on the defense. There were huge mistakes on special teams and by the offense.
The only time our defense let us down was, I think it would have been the third quarter where they're on the fucking field the whole time. I mean,
the drive right after halftime. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, but then the Vikings did the same thing. We had like a 13-play drive, came down and scored. So I mean, in my opinion, we're lacking pressure up the middle for quarterbacks. I saw, I want to say it was a guy from The Athletic said something about, why don't we go out and sign free agent Hakeem Nicks from the Bears? He's old. He could bring that pressure up the middle. Flores' defense, though, for a bunch of guys that are just getting into it, I liked it. Nothing bad to say. I liked how they moved around. Not once was it like last year's team.
Oh my God, did they get after the quarterback? There were pressures in this game. I don't remember the last time I saw the Vikings pressure the quarterback that much. And it was creative pressures too. Oh God, it was great. He had zero coverage all the time. It was more fun to watch than the offense. Even when the offense was rolling, I was like, I want to watch that defense again, because they made Baker Mayfield make some pretty miraculous plays to win that game. It's just a matter of inches, really.
No, and I think that I loved being out in Minneapolis, just being able to listen to K-Fan and listen to Paul Allen like the whole weekend. But I mean, after the game, I think he was spot on, where it's like, if you look at most of the offenses in the NFL week one, everything is going to be complete and utter shit, because nobody plays in the preseason.
Right.
So, I mean, very encouraging on the defensive side of the ball. Our offense was, I mean, pitiful. 3 turnovers. Our fucking offensive line, sorry guys, doesn't look like it's improved.
Well, they lost.
We had
lost 2 starters. Yeah.
We had injuries on the offensive line. I'm sick of the Kirk Cousins haters. I thought he played a very good game, threw for 344 yards.
He just doesn't have that clock in his head to get the ball out, because they did turn the ball over 3 times. Even though the wide receiver might have been responsible for the interception, he fumbled the ball twice.
That could be offensive line, though. You know what I mean?
The offensive lineman Ingram knocked it out of his hand, but you got to have a grip on that goddamn ball. I mean, Jesus Christ.
They haven't worked together, though. I mean, what the center quarterback combination is a huge thing. I mean, when you have
the center did his job in that case. The ball was in Kirk Cousins' hand when Ingram knocked it out.
The other one was a sack. I mean, I don't think it's time to throw it in. I mean, I liked it. There was a couple offensive calls. I wish they would be more throttle it up and just go after him. I mean, I don't think that they shut Justin Jefferson down. It's like we just go away from him in the second half.
I don't know why, when you lose 2 offensive linemen that are like pivotal to pass protection, you don't start running the ball more. That was my thing. It's like, we threw the fucking shit out of the ball. Yeah. And I'm just like, dude, let's get the ball on the ground. Like, they had a 3rd and 2, and they decide to fucking throw the ball, and they end up punting it. And it's just like, what the hell are you doing? If Madison can't get 2 goddamn yards, what the fuck are we doing?
No, that was the very first series of the game, where it's short. Yeah, short and 2 on second down, fucking 2, and it's 2 pass plays, and we punt the ball.
Right.
But we pass the ball so goddamn much, which I like, but we've got to create some kind of a run game, or fucking play action is not going to work.
Yeah, play action takes too long to develop when you've lost 2 starting offensive linemen who, you got 2 replacements in there trying to pass block. You're not going to have the same amount of time to run play action as you did when those 2 starters were in the game. So, I mean, it's just, there was no change to the offensive game plan after those injuries occurred, which I know bothered me. I didn't think Kirk Cousins was very clutch either. Like, he had an opportunity he had make 1 throw and he overthrew it. He just threw it too goddamn hard. It looked like he was mad.
In our second turnover, he kind of forced that one into Osborne. I mean, marched down the field, then turned the ball over with a fucking pick.
Yeah, but that was all on Osborne. He was supposed to run that route. cut in.
Yeah.
Sideline, right?
And still, if you hit if it hits your chest, you got to make
the ball. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
Kurt was pissed after that.
I mean,
Yeah.
that was a hell of a pass. Even I mean, that was a hell of a pass to even get it in there.
I don't think I've seen Kirk that mad ever.
I mean, here's the thing: we want to sit here and ridicule Kirk Cousins.
Not really.
He looked 10 times better than Josh Allen did last night.
Oh God.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Totally. Josh Allen looked like a fucking fool last night.
He often does, though. You guys remember, like, this guy, he's not that far removed from doing absolutely idiotic shit on the field. And he does it all the time. He did it against us. I mean, last year, he looked like an absolute fool on the field.
No.
I mean, I honestly, like, I still think it's the first week. It's tough to gauge teams. I mean, Detroit looked good. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
They don't
Green Bay looked good.
They did. They looked really good, but they're playing the fucking Bears. The Bears suck.
The Bears are looking pretty terrible again this year.
Offensively, they look like shit.
Wow.
But the Lions against the Chiefs, if Kadarius Toney catches the ball, the game's different. Like the game's completely different. So
but not that long ago, we would have never have even given Detroit a chance in that game, even with Kelsey out.
I mean, but you got to think they do. Detroit has a bunch of studs, and I mean that's what you get when you get a draft.
Really yeah.
I like their coach. The atmosphere there is really good. I don't think as Vikings fans, it's time to pack up and say no. We're right there, man. This defensively, would we give up 200 yards? I mean,
to a bad offense.
I would agree with Brad. I think there's glimpses of good in the offense, though. It's nice to see Addison come out strong.
Yeah.
I mean, that combo with him, Hawk, and Jefferson, if we could figure out a run game a little bit and maybe tweak some play calling. Like, I get sick of always these tight end fucking like 2-yard routes where it's just like, and they get tackled by a linebacker right away.
Let's quit using that as our run game and let's run the ball sometimes.
Exactly.
Well, why don't again? And then Justin Jefferson goes away in the second half of the game. Why aren't we, giving him the ball on a run play, right? Or he's in motion and just get the ball in the guy's hands and make him, get a one-on-one matchup and make him miss. That's the game.
No, that's put the ball in your playmaker's hands. That's what kind of concerns me about Detroit. I'm not saying. I get it because I'm a Vikings fan, and I will agree with Brad. I don't think they've taken the North yet. I think they're on their way. I mean, that fucking running back they drafted, they used him like fucking only 12 times.
Yeah.
When they start using him more often, that guy's going to be a fucking game changer.
Yeah.
Gibbs.
The Vikings might go into that game 0-3 and then be 2-5 when they visit Green Bay in week 8. So it's not looking good we kind of needed this game given the strength of the schedule at the beginning here.
It's early, and I think my brother will agree with me on this. I think we wait and see week 3, even if we're down 0-2. If things should start coming together by week 3. This is going to be a very tough game for the Vikes Thursday.
Yeah.
Fucking no time off. Got some injury concerns with the line, defensive line and offensive line. I mean, Davenport, it'd be nice to see him come play, but I think we got to wait and be patient. Even if you go down 0-2, it's a 17-game season. I mean,
we got time. Except for we don't have time in the show, guys, because we're out of time.
We're shooting for 10 wins. I mean, that's what we're shooting for.
Last thing I'll